We might be late.
Hey, man, we're here. It's exactly 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on the dot. They're already spamming late because they expect us to be here at 4:59. But nevertheless, we made it exactly on time. I don't want to hear it.
Listen, y'all always say that we late. I just always would like to disagree. We're on time.
Yeah, everyone says I'd love to see you guys disagree this time. I disagree regardless. Even if you guys are right, I wouldn't give it to you, so it's fine.
This also isn't Coach Carter, where it's like if you're 5 minutes, if you're only like 5 minutes before, then you're like early or whatever. That's not what this is. We say we're gonna show up at 5. We're live at 5. We're here. We're not liars and we're not late.
Exactly. Everybody watching audio platforms, welcome back to another TD3 Live. For you guys, it's basically another episode. Appreciate you coming in. Everybody here in chat, I see you spamming late. Don't care. What's up, y'all? How you doing?
Don't care.
Where the real eaters at? We are
Woo!
back. Another. Well, I was about to say TD3 Tuesday, but this is Monday.
Oh, yeah. We had to push it up a day early, go back to our roots a little bit, what we used to do before it was TD3 Tuesday. Because as you know, there's a big election tomorrow. And listen, I thought it would be kind of funny to stream on election night. I thought it might be hilarious, but I think as a general rule of thumb, you should probably avoid putting your content on that day when all the media attention is going to go there. So we're here today.
Yeah. We're responsible adults tomorrow, just for a little bit.
I'm going to have my popcorn ready. But yeah, man. As you guys see by the title, today we're going to talk about the most underrated stories in the NBA so far this season. You know, all the attention has gone to the stuff we talked about last week, where we talked about how the Milwaukee Bucks are big disappointments, the Denver Nuggets are big disappointments. There's a lot of praise to people like Paolo Banchero, LaMelo Ball, and so on. But there's always smaller stories from teams that are often overlooked, players that haven't quite, broken into the mainstream spotlight. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Stuff that you need to know about that you probably aren't paying attention to.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, man.
Like
We're
that.
gonna,
We're here to do.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, you guys know how it goes. You guys have been to T3 Lives before. You know how our setup goes. We are going to talk about the news stories of the week first, the stuff that has happened since the last episode to today. And the first headline we got is quite hilarious. Joe Mazzulla wants to bring back fighting in the NBA. The biggest thing that we can rob people of from an entertainment standpoint is you can't fight anymore. I wish you could bring back fighting. I just don't get why some sports are allowed to clear the benches. We just have a ball. The other sport has one of the hardest surfaces and playing instruments in pucks and sticks, and we're not allowed to throw down a little bit. He's so insane. I love him. He's my favorite coach now. Him and JJ Redick, I would die for both of them.
He's a wild boy.
Man.
What was your first thought when you saw this?
They're about this shit. When I first saw this, I don't know why, but I didn't even read this came. I didn't even read that this came from Joe Mazzulla. I was like, who the fuck would think this? And I'm like, oh wow, of course it's Joe Mazzulla out of all people. But I think it's facts. Definitely, it's not bad to throw hands once in a while, bro. We have so many people who like to chat in the NBA these days, and obviously no one does anything. But can you imagine if we were allowed just 30 seconds of straight hands between two players or whatever, and one player got a reputation of just being just can't fight, dude's a bitch when it comes to his hands.
That'd be great. That'd be hilarious. If it was an element of NBA strategy is that your enforcer actually has to matter because his hands matter. That would be so good.
Would the NBA teams randomly employ specific players just to fight?
Yeah.
If my NBA team would, if I was running one, I'll tell you that.
The Pacers have already done that. We saw last year. The Pacers were James Johnson, please, also known as James Jones, please come in and defend Tyrese Halliburton. We need that. So I'm with Joe. I also because the entire NBA is filled with dudes who are hold me back, just all stars.
Yeah.
And they run up really, really fast. Yo, Rudy Gobert, peak example. Yeah. You saw him grab Christian Brown by the neck, and then as soon as he saw Russell Westbrook run up, he was like, oh. He was scared. Imagine if Russell Westbrook could, for 30 seconds, not even 30, for 10 seconds, throw punches right then and there and not really have to be suspended for the whole year, go through anger management stuff. If we could just see that for one time, oh my God.
Shout out to 1234 for tipping $5. He said it's election day and the NFL trade deadline, double whammy. I forgot about that.
Shit.
Facts.
I didn't even know that. Wow.
If the Chargers don't trade for an offensive weapon or a cornerback, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Just prepare to lose it.
I know.
Y'all not doing nothing.
They might. They're good. They're the number one defense right now. It's crazy. But okay. Oh, Donovan just lagged out. Look at that.
That's what he gets. Talking shit on the Chargers.
Okay, let me let him back in. Let's see if his internet can hold up. Hold on, chat. I'm coming. He's letting him back in.
There we go.
There he is.
Is that me?
Yeah, it was you. Your shit ass Wi-Fi. Told you before the stream. I thought it was me. It was you. Yeah, man. Shout out to Carlos for tipping $3. He said Isaac likes the Celtics now, and he said type shit once. I know the influence of B-Souls caused this.
Oh my God. Yeah.
No, we are not giving B-Souls this credit.
B-Souls originator of type shit. That's crazy. That's one of those things that I say all the time, ironically, to the point where now I just like my brain forgets it's ironic.
Really? I've never heard you say that. If I heard you say it, it just like schemes past.
I do it as a joke, like ironically, that's what I'm saying, but like it's so often, like at a certain point, I don't get to call it ironic anymore.
Just you. You are.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, next news story. Draymond Green calls out OKC's post-game tradition. He said, "The one thing I see about the OKC team that's alarming to me is their post-game. 7 guys in the interview. There's a certain seriousness it takes to win in this league, and there's a certain fear you have to instill in teams in order to win. I just don't know if they're instilling that fear in teams with all this bromance and stuff after the game."
Listen, Draymond.
Shut the fuck up.
Your teammates don't like you, right? It doesn't mean that other people's teammates can't be friends. Like, I remember they used to hate on LeBron because him and all the Cavs would be dancing pregame, and they're like, "This is not a champion. This is not a good team." Meanwhile, Mo Williams was the starting point guard. Like, that's the reason why they're not a champion, not because people are friends in post-game interviews.
And he had to throw in the bromance part, just sprinkle a little homophobia into it. Just like he's like, "Get out of here, be men."
He said 7 dudes. Hey, yo, what do this
7 dudes, 1 mic. Ugh.
Oh my God.
Type shit. Ew.
Oh yeah. He definitely sprinkled that in.
Bringing 2 extra dudes. Oh my God.
And now they barking too. Good.
Oh God. Oh, shout out to C's for Life for tipping $50. He said people need to relax about the Celtics paint defense. People need to understand things will get better as soon as KP comes back. Also, Celtics scoring 81-1. Thank you for the $50. I was not aware that people were freaking out about the Celtics paint defense. I didn't know that was a talking point.
Yeah, I mean, it really shouldn't be if they're like number 2 in the conference and they're like 6-1. So
yeah, who cares? They're fine. You're right. They're totally fine. And shout out to MC Cray for tipping $10. He said, "Hey fellas, first time, long time. Hope you're well. Although the Clippers' hatred lives on, I can't help but say salute to Norman Powell, who is playing like 96 Jordan right now for the money laundering franchise." Thought I'll hang up and listen. Salute Norman Powell. He's getting buckets. He's getting buckets for sure. Real Cam Thomas like.
He is.
Yeah, I knew he was gonna go off. I knew this was gonna be his season to put up 22, 23, or whatever it is that he's doing right now.
However, I do have some Clippers thoughts later in the show. That there's some Clippers stuff that I don't think that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. We'll get to that. Yeah, Clippers are very interesting. They're being very overlooked right now, and we'll get to that later. The next news story. This happened kind of live. When we're recording last week's episode, I told you I got a Shams tweet that said Paolo Banchero is day-to-day with the side of his oblique was injured. And we were like, oh, okay, day-to-day, he's fine. An hour after we recorded, it was confirmed he is out indefinitely. Will be reevaluated in 4 to 6 weeks. Hopefully that's when he comes back, but that just means he'll be looked at again. So it might be even longer. How do y'all feel, man? Have you guys watched Magic the past couple of days without him? It's fucking horrific.
They look putrid.
They look awful.
Putrid, bro.
It's not good. It's not great.
Yeah, this team is so Paolo Banchero reliant. Obviously his usage rate is stupid high, and you would assume Paolo's gone, cool, that's okay. Like the number 2 option in Franz Wagner should be able to step up to a certain point in degree, but that hasn't been the case at all. You would expect someone who you gave $200 million to act and masquerade as the number 1 option. It's not the case at all, not yet at least. But yeah, this hurts. This hurts a lot. This hurts so much all around for their team.
I mean, they're kind of cooked.
Yeah, in terms of being like a top 3 seed, they're definitely cooked. Like, again, maybe they'll learn to play with him a little bit better and get better with time. That wouldn't be shocking. But we were saying last episode they're on pace to be a top 3 team. They were 4 last year. It was a Mickey Mouse 4 because the Cavs threw it on purpose to get down to 5. But they earned that. They had a really strong second half of the season, and they seemingly carried the momentum into this year. Paolo was firing on all cylinders. It was clear he was going to be All-NBA, and they're probably going to be a top 4 seed again. Without that All-NBA player, this is not the same team. So I think that qualifies as cooked. They're not going to be able to get that high, I don't think.
No, I don't like 4 to 6 weeks from this point really means like at the earliest he's coming back December, right? They're
And
like
they're just reevaluating him at that point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a real possibility he doesn't come back until Christmas. If that's the case and you miss 6 weeks of Paolo Banchero, I don't think they're going to be in the same situation as the Sixers, as the Bucks are right now. It sucks because like I don't think that they are a top 6 team without Paolo, but because you have the Sixers and the Bucks at the bottom, and because you have teams like the Nets who are currently 3-2 or whatever, and still in the top 6 seed who we know are going to fall out, there's still room technically for them to get there. I don't think they are. I don't think they end up as a top 6 seed.
Chat, I see you guys saying Mo is quiet. I already fixed it. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to get that high when you're missing that much time from a player. And they're clearly one of those teams that isn't just, Paolo's the all-star because he's the best guy on a good team, but they're very well-rounded and win without him. That's not the case at all this year. He is backpacking this team. Before the season, I had some concerns about their offense and how they still didn't have a ton of creation. Their spacing was a little bit better, but not to the point where they're just going to be head and shoulders better offensively. They were looking head and shoulders better offensively because Paolo was scoring at a ridiculous clip in the games they won. Now without him, you see those, lack of bench creators and lack of secondary creators. You see that issue start to come out more without him there to mask it all. Cole Anthony barely plays anymore. Markelle Fultz isn't there. Franz Wagner isn't scoring super well. You're asking a lot of Jalen Suggs, a lot of Anthony Black, a lot of your big ZB creators, and that's just not really who they should be, I think.
This 100% lands on Franz Wagner to go ahead and step up, bro. There was a point in time to where it was like an inception point, and a lot of Magic fans were like, oh. It was like one of their biggest delusional points from what I saw. People were like, oh, man. There's a specific crowd. They're like, oh, man, like Franz Wagner is actually better than Paolo Banchero during his rookie year or whatever. Mm-hmm. And some even thought that, like, to a certain extent, like towards at the very start of last year when Paolo like started super slow. And I'm looking at that crowd and I'm just like, I'm with you in spirit, but if there's any time to believe in like Franz as the guy right now, you need him to be that, especially since Paolo isn't there. That's beyond dead. Yeah,
it's super dead. And I think on the pod last year, I didn't say Franz is better, but I was like, I don't know how big the gap is. I was really high on Franz. I was like, Paolo's better, but like Franz is right behind him. Franz is not right behind him anymore. That ship has sailed. Paolo has went to the moon, and Franz has worse than stagnated.
Pretty
stagnated,
much.
But
no, he went the opposite way.
Yeah, like he has stagnated, but we had so much hope for his trajectory that stagnation is like a big disappointment.
It's I actually see it the opposite way. He took such of a step back last year that the fact that like
with the shooting,
his shooting, the fact that his shooting is like kind of normalized to start the season. It's like, okay, this is where you should have been last year. And so now it looks like a little bit of progress. But yeah, like Paolo took a step up, you took a step back. Now there's 2 levels in between you guys. And the team, like we've all said, it's just not built for it's not built to be a Franz Wagner led team. And so now I don't know how far they fall because it's those games last season in the playoffs, whenever they're scoring like, 60, 70 points, and it just looks like they can't do anything offensively. It feels the same way now that Paolo's out. And he's like, oh my goodness, like everything is a grind with this team at this point.
Yeah. Shout out to Horse of Jokic for tipping $5. And shout out to what does it say? Shrimp Dareem for tipping $1. We appreciate y'all. Next news story.
Thank you.
First, we have another shout out to Kevin Galicki for tipping $60. He said, wanted to see y'all live in Boston, but unfortunately felt like the Knicks' ass. Also, Tatum going to be unanimous top 4 this year behind Jokic, Luka, and Shea. Get Embiid and Giannis out of here. Woof. Hot takes, man. Wow. Appreciate you donating like always.
So y'all got to show up to the next live show that we have. Probably going to be around All-Star weekend.
There you go. But the next news story we got to talk about. Y'all, Joel Embiid put hands on a reporter yesterday. And it was deserved. I am pro Embiid assault in this instance.
Fill us in. What happened?
So there's this reporter that works for the Philadelphia Inquirer named Marcus Hayes. He is a reporter.
Like a bitch.
He's a reporter, but only in title. Listen, journalism's not in a great state right now. And there's a lot of unserious organizations out there that get access because there's not as many well put together media organizations in these locker rooms are used to be, sometimes they employ guys who are disgraceful to the profession, and that is Marcus Hayes. He wrote a story earlier this week where he was talking about Joel Embiid missing time and how he's disrespecting his team and his fans and really not living up to all that the team has given him, all the fans have given him. And there was a line in that story where he mentioned Joel Embiid's brother who died over a decade ago that he named his son after. He said something on the lines of, would your brother be proud of the way you've performed for this team? Which is fucking outlandish. It's absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, Joel Embiid doesn't want to be hurt. We all know that it's ridiculous to blame him for his own injuries. But even if he was lazy and he was, deserving of blame, which he's not, it's insane for a reporter to be like, you think your dead brother would be part of this? You think he would be proud of you? Like, absolutely insanity. So, the next time Joel Embiid saw him in person, he pressed him, and he pushed him in the shoulder, apparently. It was reported on Twitter by another not-so-great journalist as him punching him, which turned out not to be true. But he laid hands on a journalist, which is obviously something that you're not supposed to do, but understandable given the context. How do y'all feel?
Listen, shout out Joel. You know what I'm saying? This is the one time I will defend Joel Embiid. Don't you ever open your mouth, open your MacBook, right, to type such outlandish things about my dead brother. Like he would never ever say that to Joel. If him and Joel Embiid were having a sit down conversation, he would never ever have said that. He was trying to make this piece something, outlandish and trying to really, really stick his point, and he went over the top. And it's just something that it's just not decent, and you just wouldn't say it to his face. And so for Joel, shout out to you. You handled business. You do what you had to do. I don't think he's gonna lose any money off of this. And even if he does,
but it's okay.
Yeah.
Listen, the Sixers pay the fine.
Yeah, he definitely will. The last time this happened, I think, was back in 2015 or 16 or something of that nature. And it happened with DeMarcus Cousins back when he was on the Kings. And he was fined like $60,000, $70,000, something around that nature. So it's going to happen, but it doesn't matter because it's like well-deserved.
Maybe he'll get suspended for a game or two. Oh, well. Fuck that guy. It's fine. And there was some Marcus Hayes was asked about this, his experience after it. And he said that Elton Brand and Daryl Morey apologized to him and told him it's unacceptable. Big fucking eye roll on that. No, I guess they have to say that because you can't, if you're in charge of the team, I guess you can't go out there and be like, yeah, well, my player is attacking journalists. I guess it's a bad look for them.
Yeah.
But who cares, man? It's ridiculous. And the fact that, one, he wrote that and had the audacity to put it out, and two, presumably an editor saw that and approved it, which maybe it's too big of an assumption because I don't know. These days, with how stripped down journalism is, maybe they didn't have an editor.
Apparently, there were a few things that were redacted from the initial report that they did put out, and that was the edited version.
That was the clean version.
That was a clean version. Yeah, that was a clean version.
If that's the radio edit, then like, what are we doing here? But that's ridiculous. Shout out Joel.
Like, who does he think he is? Like, why is he trying to eat their Joel Embiid? Like, what kind of crazy pedestal do you think you're on as a journalist that you think it's your job to come out here and be like, this guy's soft as baby shit, blah blah blah? Like, who do you think you are? Like, it's so crazy. He's a reporter. He's just a guy with a podcast. He's supposed to be a beat reporter that covers the team, and like people go to him for consistent news and to get up to date, professional information devoid of bias. What the fuck is he talking about?
And even if he felt like Joel was soft, there's other ways to say that without invoking the name of his dead brother. Like that's, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like a lot of players and like a lot of this stuff that like the friction that stuff has, like players come at reporters and stuff like that. Cause it's like, listen, you don't know me as a person. People try to take stuff off the court. If you are talking about strictly on-court performance, like fine, that's part of the job. That's what it is. Once you start bringing in my family, other things that happen off the floor, now you're crossing the line, and I'm gonna have to go meet you across the line, and that's exactly what Joel did. So again,
what a coward.
Situations like this, situations like this are super rare. But hopefully, like this sends a message to other reporters: stay in your lane. Don't write what you would say. Don't write it unless you would say it to my face, and like just know you're in the locker rooms and I'm gonna see you. That's it.
Yeah, and it's not even like So part of it is be professional. You're a reporter. Also, like, I'm trying to find the verbiage. You're just a piece of shit. Like, that's just a terrible thing to say to somebody, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, you're just a bad guy. You're just an asshole, and you're not funny. Like, you think it's a joke, and you think you're gonna get claps, and everyone's gonna be like, "Ooh, you got his ass," all this shit. It's not clever. It's not funny. It's not cool. It's not smart. It's nothing of the above. It's just whack as fuck.
Yeah, this dude definitely hates his life, and I ain't gonna lie. Can you imagine what it feels like to get pushed by a 7 foot, 300-pound dude? I hope he left the bruise, dude. I would fly back like 10 rows.
It probably felt like a punch. It probably did.
yeah, no. Someone tying you, yeah, he probably thought he was gonna die.
He probably got flicked. That was it. It wasn't even a push. It was just.
You know what? I don't care what it was. Either way, I would have been on his side. I would have been like, listen, let's think about the context here, no matter what he did. All right, man. Next story. Draymond Green on Zion Williamson. He ain't just strong. He's powerful.
Stay talking.
Listen, when you got a podcast, you got a lot of shit to say.
That's true.
They played the Pelicans for 2 straight games, back-to-back days, which is a crazy thing the NBA does these days that I hate. But he said, he ain't just strong. He's powerful. Taking him on 2 days in a row, my back hurt. My hips hurt. I'm banged all up. I'm hurt, brother.
Hey, yo.
The way you're saying it, too, makes it 10 times worse.
Come on.
All I can do is narrate what I read, man.
That boy's saying basically, he's saying I gotta get baby oil next time I face Zion. Ew, gross, bro. The fuck.
Shout out to Shaq Velen for tipping $3. Shout out to Bresky for tipping $5, and shout out to Just Shaqo for tipping $15. We appreciate all y'all.
Thank you for the donations.
Yeah, man, this quote was just hilarious. Man, listen, Zion Williamson's a handful, man. You gotta really brace for impact.
I was watching the game and I saw what exact move made Draymond.
A lot of man.
Saw him with a cross, bumped him in his chest once. Draymond didn't know like what state he was in.
It's a lot of dude.
Paralyzed in time. Yeah, it's a whole lot of dude to take at once.
And young boy is coming.
Ime Udoka on Buddy Hield joining the Warriors. Klay Thompson all over again. That's how they're using him. Bro, Buddy has been a problem. Buddy has been going crazy. He's shooting like 50% from 3. It's been outrageous.
That's just a problem. An issue, right? No, yeah. This is the best scenario that the Warriors could have thought of. I'm like, hey, let's actually get another shooter who can replace Klay Thompson, and also let's have him be consistent in ways that Klay Thompson wasn't consistent last year. And Steph, he's coming back tonight. He's playing. He's been out for the last 3 games. Hasn't really mattered. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Warriors are still out here winning games. Buddy Hield is hooping. And let's just hope for the Warriors' sake that Buddy Hield can continue this over 82 games, because we've seen him at a couple stops not really be productive, but he's being productive right now. Shout out to him.
Yeah, hopefully it's just the right system for him to keep doing his thing. I mean, he's not going to shoot 52% from 3 forever. He's not going to have the single best shooting season of all time by a mile. But if he can shoot 44% from 3 for a whole year,
why not us?
Oh, speaking of that, shout out to Philly Loving Ginger, a frequent donator, for tipping $70.
Philly Loving. I never loved Ginger so much before. Thank you.
You were my favorite Ginger. I like you more than Andrew Santino. Here.
Oh, that's high praise. That's high praise.
Exactly.
What's next? Oh, this is the interesting headline. Steph Curry is in talks with the NBA to change the AllStar game format this season. Interesting that it's specifically Steph Curry, that he's like, man, I can't do this shit again. That was boring. Let's figure this out. Apparently the players didn't like it either, and you fucking know the fans didn't like it. So I guess it's encouraging.
Well, it makes sense that it's Steph, because the All-Star game is in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, true.
And so Steph is going to be like the unofficial ambassador. And so basically he's like, listen, don't come into my house and embarrass me.
Yeah.
My family's here. The world is watching. I'm trying to show off the Chase Center for the first time as like an All-Star host. Please don't embarrass me. And I'm sorry, Steph, you're about to get embarrassed. The league has tried for years to fix the All-Star game. And no matter what format, it doesn't matter if the players are going to go into it and not care about it. So
someone said Donovan can't stop staring at Steph.
What do you mean by that?
I got stuff on the screen right now. Really Donovan salivating.
The only thing that could save this, I understand you, Donovan, in terms of like it doesn't matter if players don't care, they don't care at the end of the day. But if there's any instance or situation where you have to care, is if there's nothing but you, another man, and a basketball staring right at you in your face. Some format of 1v1 basketball will help something. It will help.
King of the
It's
court
fresh,
with
unique. We've been begging for it for the entirety like the last 10 years.
How sad. We can't get an all-star game. We can't get a quarter of good basketball from the best players in the world. It doesn't even have to be the whole game. We can go back to what we were doing in 2020, 2021, where everybody locked in for like 5 minutes and it was like, oh wow, this is actually good. You know, and people make jokes and say all the time, like, you know, that players play harder and like in the pickup games at like, you know, Chris Brickley's gym and in the outfield and everything. It's for real. It's for real. And it's just crazy that every single year we kind of have to go through this and like, you know, watch a trash product for the All-Star game because we can't get 5-6 minutes of good basketball. Like, Obama was out here scolding Tyrese Halliburton like he was his father. Like, just,
he already did.
That was fun.
He was like, yeah, it's wild.
Speaking of wild,
Tyrese don't have to worry about it. He won't be back.
Oh my god. Speaking of wild, other day the Toronto Raptors retired Vince Carter's jersey, and to commemorate that day, they had Drake in attendance, and Drake was there on the mic, yapping, and he said, you know, DeMar DeRozan was there, and DeMar DeRozan famously was in Kendrick Lamar's "Not Like Us" music video, crip walking on Drake's grave, and obviously that bothered the boy. And he was on the mic and said, if y'all hang that DeMar DeRozan jersey up, I'm gonna go tear that bitch down myself. So DeMar DeRozan reacted. He said he's gonna have to climb a long way to take it down. Tell him good luck. And this led to tons of discourse about should they retire DeMar's number, yada yada yada. And I think it's all hilarious that Drake is so bothered still about this.
Did you guys see that one clip?
Why wouldn't you be
Drake
bothered?
And Chubbs are standing in the sidelines, and Jake is just like under his breath saying, "Pussy." Fucking pussy. He said in the quietest tone ever. He tried to make his mouth so unreadable.
I have seen that. I have seen that clip because thanks to Isaac, everybody on the internet now thinks that I'm Chubbs, and I have been tagged in that video several times. I'm just like, yo, you were in Toronto, you were in Canada. Oh my god.
Oh, TD3 made it. You hanging out with Drake now? Oh my god.
But this is so funny. Why are they giving him the mic to get this shit off his chest? That's so funny. Like, pass the mic back to the commentators. What are we talking about? The day of commemorating Vince Carter, we're like, fuck their other GOAT.
Yeah, they were interviewing him on the side. And shout out to him too, because I think that this is the first time that Drake has shown up in Toronto like in like 2 years. He just hasn't been. He's like, I'm not watching the rebuild. So yeah, I think this is fake fandom on display again.
That's funny. Shout out to Kevin Glicki for tipping another $30. We appreciate you, man. You're fucking running it up. And shout out to Equalizer for tipping $1. Yeah, let's move on to another topic that's not Drake and his grievances.
I feel like I grew up with so many Drakes in my life who just have that fucking pussy undertone when no one's around.
Austin Rivers on Tyrese Halliburton. I'd take Lamelo over him. I watch him in person. I see him airball. He can't get a shot off because he doesn't have a bag. Halliburton is crab dribbling around. He doesn't have a handle like that. I just don't see it. And
crab dribbling around.
Right now, it's true. People harass him for this. Everyone's like, I know your ass is not talking, Mr. Bench Warmer, Mr. Out the League, yada, yada, yada. Which is so funny that people... I've seen a pattern of any time these former players that weren't that great for NBA standards come out and have opinions, whether it's this guy, Chandler Parsons, that backup quarterback that makes NFL videos, forget his name, whoever it is, everyone's like, I know you're a 4-point per game bitch ass is not talking. as if it's better if a non-player than a shitty player. They can attack like they can't have an opinion because they suck. It's so funny.
It's so funny. It's so unfair.
It's ridiculous, but it's funny as hell.
The funny part about it is like people say that whenever they're right. Like when they know, like, everything that Austin Rivers said was facts, and it hurt Pacers fans' feelings and they were like, "You can't talk, you can't say it."
Yeah. You
Daddy's
can never
money.
do what Tyrese is doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Come to Indiana.
What
I
he's
see
saying
you
is
out,
like
Gary.
not wrong.
It's certainly not wrong for right now.
It's right to
I mean,
a degree.
I think people see he doesn't have a bag, and that makes people think saying he sucks. But I think what Austin Rivers is saying is what I said last week, is that if he's not hitting a step back three, he doesn't have a whole lot of other counters. You know, like
He doesn't have a bag.
He doesn't have a
He
bag.
doesn't have
Like,
a bag.
like compared to other
We don't have
stars,
to make the sentence this big.
no,
You
but
don't
compared
have
to
a
other
bag.
stars, he's relatively easy to adjust to. Like you look at someone like Lamelo is just so much more dynamic off the dribble. He doesn't have one move he goes to and can't counter with. Like Tyrese has great things as a playmaker, great things pushing the pace, keeping the ball moving. But as a scorer, his bag is not deep. This is not a crazy statement.
Exactly. And I wish more attention was pointed towards like, Lamelo Ball's like making this real life leap, and instead of like Tyrese Halliburton's not that guy, because of all the things you said, there's certain limitations with him that just don't give you a high ceiling. There's guys like LaMelo Ball who's better. Trae Young, of course, you said that before. He's better. De'Aaron Fox now. There was a certain point in time last year where like, Tyrese is making the leap, and it's looking like the Kings have made a mistake in that trade. Now, at this point in time, it's like, it's whatever you prefer at this point. And I think we can all agree, like, De'Aaron Fox is still probably a better player than Tyrese Halliburton for such reasons. So
we'll see, man. It depends what kind of bounce back he has going into the season. Because right now he looks so bad that it can't be sustained. So it's hard to gauge where he actually is at. Because like I just know he's not gonna be like right now. He's playing like the fucking 17th best starting point guard in the league right now. So
Well,
he's gonna be better than that. So it's hard to tell where he's gonna normalize to.
wouldn't it be funny though if the free trial stuff was actually right and he had like 1 year of just amazing play? He got to be on Team USA. He got to be an AllStar, and then we just never see it again.
I would say that'd be one of the craziest things, but that happens all the time. We just forget about it. Especially like in former eras, like 2000. There's a lot of guys that had like 1 or 2 random All-Star years and then just never reach that level again.
D'Angelo Russell's like is the last guy who had a random All-Star game.
True.
Darius Garland, I don't want to say he's had a random All-Star game, but at this point in time, it's kind of looking like
It's
that.
It's more the fact that like he got appointed to Team USA. Like that's the icing on the cake. That you were able just to be there when you clearly did not belong.
Yeah, they needed someone to warm up those seats.
And he didn't D'Angelo Russell got into the All-Star game because the team was good and the East was weak as fuck, so somebody had to get in. But Tyrese Halliburton was legit playing at like an All-NBA level. Like it's rare we see a guy rise to that level, and it's not just like team based. He's legitimately just like playing incredible, and it stops. Like that's fairly unusual.
Yeah, it's uncanny.
Hate to see it. Pacers fans, y'all are in trouble. It's
We'll
not
see, man.
looking good.
Speaking of someone who's in trouble, the Philadelphia 76ers, reinforcements are on the way. Philadelphia 76ers star Paul George is expected to make his season debut on Monday versus the Phoenix Suns, barring any setbacks. Thank God.
Okay.
Thank God. Have y'all watched the Sixers this year, man? It's not fun. It's been atrocious
I've watched
to look at.
3 Sixers games, and I regretted wasting all my time watching them. I love Tyrese Maxiell. Fantastic dude. As we all like to say, just a pocket full of sunshine, smiling for no reason. He's put up like 30 points per game so far this year, but it's on horrendous sub 40% shooting from the field.
You love
terrible.
Tyrese Maxiell. I like Tyrese Maxiell too when he's playing next to Joel Embiid. I hate watching Tyrese Maxiell when he's the only star with a bunch of random guys around him. It is awful watching him be the one option with nobody else there to help him next to Aaron Gordon, Andre Drummond, and Caleb Martin just being old. It sucks. I do not like that. I did not like it for Tyrese Maxiell. I know a lot of Sixers fans got ahead of themselves and thought he would like develop into being like what James Harden was for them a few years ago as a playmaker. That's just not his game. So it's not great when it's forced to be his game.
Yeah. It sucks watching Tyrese Maxiell in this mode because Tyrese Maxiell at this point is who we thought Cam Thomas is.
Relax.
He's out here.
Relax.
I'm saying if we are talking about straight production and what
comment tomatoes.
All right, let's mute this guy.
No, stop it. What? Look at exactly what he's doing, and look at the way that we were talking about Cam Thomas coming into the season. Yeah, like he might win the scoring title, but he's just going to be chucking, doing all this. Tyrese Maxiell, like Mo said, 30 points per game, 26% from 3, 38% from the field. The playmaking, right, the assists have dropped down from where they were last year. in terms of potential assists created, he's in the same ranks as like Jason Tatum and in that kind of like range, not like elite playmakers. So we're not seeing a jump. We're not seeing stagnation from Tyrese Maxiell. And maybe it is stagnation because whenever Joel was out last year, this is also what we saw. We saw Tyrese Maxiell put up a lot of points on bad efficiency. He can't be, and he's not the number one scoring option on your team. And right now, because they have what, $100 million, $90 million in players, in Paul George and Joel Embiid on the sideline, the current roster allocation leads him to be Cam Thomas. Now, when Joel Embiid comes back, he will be much better.
The point of Cam Thomas and why he's viewed lesser is because he can't do it next to other stars and presumably wouldn't be a good number 2 option. So, sure, maybe it looks the same when they're both number 1 options, but it's crazy to say he's Cam Thomas.
I'm saying right now, again, right now, this is exactly what we thought we were going to be getting from Cam Thomas.
Sure. You get the same exact result when you have both of them as the number 1 on your team. It's in different ways. I think Tyrese is a better playmaker, a better rebounder, a better defender, an all-around basketball player than that. So I can't call him to Cam Thomas. But at the end of the day, they'll both lead you to the same promised land or poo-poo land as the number 1 option.
Yes,
which is like
we like Tyrese, and he's better than Cam Thomas because he can play next to Joel, and I get that. But right now, Joel is not there. So you are Mr. Thomas.
Someone said just joined and Donovan's already hating. Came at the perfect time. All right, man. That's the end of the news story, Doc. Before we get to the main topic of the episode, and before we talk about the most under-talked about stories in the NBA this year, we got a little game to play. A little TikTok-y type segment.
Okay.
What we're going to do is let's have some election content. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about the election tomorrow. Let's talk about the future president of the United States. And what I mean by that is I'm going to name 2 NBA players, and I want you to tell me who would be better as the president of the United States.
Oh, we're factoring everything in this conversation right now.
Which one of these NBA stars would you rather see lead this country of ours?
Oh, my gosh. This is everything that doesn't matter, and I love it. This is my bag. We're not talking about basketball at all.
First matchup, Anthony Edwards or Shaquille O'Neal?
Oh, hell no. I can't have Shaq run my country, bro.
I can't have Shaq run my country.
This man will take money from anything or anybody, bro. I've seen him before.
I would not be a fan of where those dollars are allocated.
And I have comparisons for him for days.
And listen, Anthony Edwards, I know he'll support women's right to choose. I'll tell you that. Go ahead and put a W in that checkbox.
Hey, man, he's a man of the people. I agree.
Roe v. Wade is safe under Anthony Edwards' watch.
Man, listen, I don't know where any of them are spending their dollars because both of them are wild guys. But Anthony Edwards is 23 years old. He has time to grow and mature. Shaq, you are 50 years old, acting like you are 23. I can't have that. That may be good on inside the NBA, not for the president of the United States.
Yeah, no.
Relax.
I agree.
You're scaring the citizens.
Oh my God. LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Would Jordan even want to be president?
It's obviously LeBron. Michael Jordan would lose Alaska in a dice game. I can't. We can't have that. We can't have that.
He'd give it back to Russia on a bad crab's hand.
We can't have that.
This man is too risky.
When was the last time Michael Jordan went to Alaska? I know that he thinks it's irrelevant. He doesn't think it matters.
He's putting that shit on red.
Exactly. He's gonna show up, yellow eyes and everything. Oh no, we can't.
Yellow eyes.
LeBron is probably the most safe middle ground Democrat ever. We'll get him in the office. LeBron's not gonna do shit, but he's not gonna lose it in a gambling match.
Yeah, why not? I just know if LeBron's there, he's gonna try his best to look out for everybody, bro.
Chris Paul or Steph Curry?
Someone said, "That's my country, ain't it?" That's our country. Oh, the amount of lying he would do. LeBron is actually perfectly fit to be president. He lies all the fucking time too. Wow.
That's our ball. That's our ball. That's Utah. That's Utah.
That's so good.
All right, man. CP3 or Steph Curry?
Well, CP3 was literally president of the Players Association, so I'll give him that. If we're just going off of experience, you got that.
He served his country before. He served his people.
Yeah,
But did he do a good job serving the NBA?
I don't
No,
know, but
ain't
I don't
nothing
know.
changed.
Listen, he wasn't responsible for this new CBA. This isn't CJ McCollum, so he did a good job in comparison.
Chris Paul would work for everybody. I'm not sure if Steph would work for everybody, so I'm going Chris Paul.
Chris Paul probably supports lower income housing. Steph Curry, not so much.
I was trying to say. I was trying to say that without trying to say.
I would try to argue Steph may be. I can't say it.
Steph would be a great president for Steph.
Innovative in certain lights.
Listen, Chris Paul gives major math teacher energy. That's something you can public servant. That's exactly what he should be.
If Steph Curry was president, nobody's even touring the White House. You're not getting close to. You're not getting close to my residence. You better go somewhere else. You better go to the Capitol, to the Washington Monument. You're not coming to 1600 Pennsylvania.
You better watch that monument.
That's not happening.
You're gonna send him to Baltimore, send him down the road. You better get a Joe's Crab Shack.
Go get some crab legs, man.
You better get some Old Bay.
Man, have that Under Armour on.
So that CP3 is legalizing buff streams in Stream East.
Fire up the wire on that plane. You going over there?
Oh shit.
Tim Duncan or Kevin Durant?
Everybody gonna be smoking if KD is president. Everybody.
Oh yeah.
Mandatory. Gotta have the gram
cloud
of your
of weed.
pillow every night.
Would we ever hear from Tim Duncan if he was president?
No people operating in the fucking shadows.
He'd be president over Zoom.
Over Zoom.
I don't know how that would work.
Kevin Durant would ban Twitter just so he doesn't got to read any more mentions. Actually, no, he might love it. He might.
No.
He might
Yeah.
have to. Yeah, never mind.
He would not
addicted.
ban Twitter at all. Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that to Kevin. But he will be prominent on social media too. He'd be on Twitter every day.
Respond to all the Karens and all at 24/7.
He's getting trapped by bots.
Tim Duncan probably has the best, most fundamental understanding of world economics. He probably reads hella textbooks right now.
We have no idea. No one would know.
I actually don't believe that. I think Tim Duncan is out here just off the grid. He's not reading. He's
Chopping
not
wood.
writing. This man is picking coconuts off a tree.
Just putting mangoes in the ocean. Giannis or Nikola Jokic?
I'm not picking Giannis, man.
We don't need another hornball in office.
I can't. Again, that might be good for Milwaukee. He can't be horny like that in the presidential office.
It's happened before. Like, what's the issue if he does it
We
again?
can't have that again.
Why?
Gonna
can't
get
have-
Bill Clinton so fast.
Do you not know that the birth rate in the USA is like declining vastly?
Giannis is gonna fix it.
Yeah, single-handedly, the Greek freak, man.
If you
Man
can't
going on
control
tour.
Stop that. He is too horny. If you can't control your urges, how are you going to control the nukes? That's too much power for him. I can't trust him.
You think Jokic is gonna control the nukes?
What
He'll
do
be
we
on
know?
the same-
He's not
Giannis-
Jokic is for the farmers. He's for middle America.
Ooh,
You know?
he doesn't support the
people
working
in Iowa.
class.
That's what I'm saying. All the people in Iowa and Idaho, the corn farmers, the potato farmers, Jokic is for you. He
Listen,
likes
man.
you.
We have documented proof that Giannis likes to press red buttons.
Freak a Zoid.
It's been shown.
He has the button. He has a belt.
All right, calm down. No more.
How much?
No
How
more
much do
details.
you need?
All right, man. John Morant or Zion Williamson?
Ja's for the South. I'll say that. He is for the South. For sure.
And Zion's not.
South.
I
He's
mean,
for a different kind of South. He's for the
yeah,
country.
exactly. Yeah.
Other side of the tracks?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, I
plead the fifth.
We might have to go Ja.
I plead the fifth.
Actually, I don't know who would be better, but I know that Ja would win because the way that Ja kicks it, more people kick it like Ja. And once again, too many freakazoids in the office.
A common theme here: we're not electing a freakazoid.
No.
Yeah, exactly. With
Control
Ja, I
yourself,
know
man.
bare minimum, like our military will be on point.
Oh
on
my
top
god!
of
All
that
right,
too.
man. LaMelo
Security
Ball,
household wise.
LaMelo Ball, or Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler, hands down.
Can you imagine a worse person to elect a public office than LaMelo Ball?
It's the most unserious person.
LaMelo Ball would
world.
take away stoplights. We'd have car crashes all the time.
He's gonna change the Star Spangled Banner.
What's it gonna change it to? Just a bunch of
Little baby.
spaceships and hearts and dancing.
Freestyle. He's gonna make us. He's gonna make the kids in class fucking put their hearts on their chest and gunna.
I don't see an issue with that.
200 for lunch. Listen, Jimmy Butler, I know he'll care. He'll care a lot, and that's probably an admirable quality for a politician.
He might care too much though.
Starbucks is in trouble if Jimmy Butler becomes.
Oh yeah, he's breaking that up. He's union. He's
breaking it up.
breaking them up, breaking up conglomerates left and right.
There's no more
a fan of
Starbucks. It's only Big Face Coffee.
Yep. Corporate takeover via government. Jalen Brunson or Gilbert Arenas?
Gilbert is the worst
Gilbert
person
Arenas.
to be president. Also, worst.
He's
Jalen
starting,
Brunson
he's starting a
seems
war instantly.
With every European
Immediately.
country. One by
Yeah.
one. You see a trade partner over there across the pond? Exiled immediately.
We don't need their rice. We don't need their tea. For what?
Bring the jobs back to America. USA. USA.
He's looking at the map just like it's king of the court. He's like, you first, then you, then you, then you.
Sounds like we're calling him. Never mind. He's going to pillage Europe.
While we're on that, he might detonate Utah too.
Detonate is crazy. Listen, man, Jalen Brunson can wear the fuck out of a navy blue suit. He has the look of a president.
Listen, man, I trust
man
him
can put
with
on a
that suit
tie.
no matter what.
Now, last one. Charles Barkley or Richard Jefferson?
Charles Barkley can't complete a sentence. Like I'm going Richard Jefferson.
Sounds like the last couple dudes that ran for president. Sounds like he'll fit in.
What's the difference?
Sounds like he'll fit in just fine.
Richard Jefferson screams president a little bit. He seems like a really likable guy.
He's more
Why?
of a senator kind of guy. Than
Facts. He's a state senator at that. He's a guy that's like in charge of like local sewers.
Local sewers.
He's a municipal governor. He's running Omaha like a fucking Navy brigade. He's doing a great job over there.
And I know he's doing a damn good job for sure. He is.
Those schools are going to be great.
What would Charles improve as a president? What would you trust him in?
All I feel like is that like
Michelin
alcohol
restaurants?
would probably be cheaper.
Alcohol. The price of Hennessy's going down.
Yeah. Every state would be allowed to gamble.
Oh, naturally.
What else?
School lunches would be tasty again. He'd undo everything Michelle Obama did.
Oh, food is gonna be good under Charles Barkley.
We're giving 9-year-olds donuts.
He's
Donuts
making
and
sure.
girls, I love it.
He's making sure that as a nation we are fed.
Hot Cheetos.
Hey, you're telling me no one's going hungry in America? I love it. Let's make him president.
Oh, there you go. A man with a core issue. We're picking Charles Barkley.
Yeah,
Charles
exactly.
Barkley's
Everybody's
ending
going
world
hungry.
hunger.
And that's it, man. That's all the ones I got.
That's hilarious.
Shout out to Kevin Gillicky for donating $40. He said if Barkley got elected, watches will be canceled and stove sales will go up.
Stove sales.
That's a throwback.
All right, man.
That's hilarious, man. That is hilarious.
Let's 50 minutes into the stream. Let's finally get to the main topic. Let's talk about the NBA stories that are getting not enough attention. The most under talked about stories in the NBA right now.
Wait. Before we go ahead and move on to the next topic, y'all crown eaters have to stop playing with us. Leave a like on the stream. We have about 1,200 people in here and only 300 likes, 367 specifically. We in here vibing with y'all, making sure that you ain't lonely on this Monday night before you watch your favorite team get spanked. Leave a like.
All right, man. Donovan, what is the first NBA news story you think needs to get more attention right now?
I think we are not talking about how the wall at the Intuit Dome is actually detrimental.
What?
Wow.
The Los Angeles Clippers are 0-4 at home this season. They have not won there, and I think that the wall is behind it.
Explain. Keep going. Tell us about your theory.
Once again,
Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall.
They have lost to the Suns twice there. They have blown a 20-point lead. James Harden, maybe it might just be James, right? Being old school James Harden, but for some reason they just can't pull out wins. You look at the stats and it's all the same. What else, right? Like in terms of points, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, all of it looks very similar in terms of their road splits and their home splits. But what could be the difference? Maybe it is the big wall of fans just distracted. It's the little things in the NBA, right, that separate a lot. So I think that we need to have an investigation about the wall and see what is actually going on there. Because it might
got enough
hurt
investigations going on over there. I ain't gonna lie.
Facts. Last thing they need is more eyeballs.
That's true. No, but the Clippers are 0-4 at home, the 2-4. But actually, the Clippers are top 10 in defense. And I think that's like, I think that's I don't know. It's kind of surprising because like they're top 7. And for like the part that's not surprising is that James Harden isn't crazy efficient, and to ask, him to be, 34, 35 and carry this offense, that's a lot. And that was one of the reasons why I was kind of low on the Clippers coming into the season. But I think that he's played well enough that putting a top 10, top 7 defense should get them. And mind you, it's 2-4. The difference between that and 3-3 is marginal, obviously. But still, you'd think that their record would be a little bit better and that they would be able to close out some of these games. Do you guys think that the Clippers defense is sustainable for the rest of the year?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're exactly what I thought they'd be. Whenever we were doing the preseason rankings, I had a hard time. I initially put them at 11 before the Kawhi news broke because I was like, I guess they're going to be out of the play-in because there's a lot of good teams, but I don't feel good about it. Like, I think if there's an injury to a top team, they're the first one that's going to be back in that mix. Because Ty Lue is, I saw someone on Twitter say, Ty Lue is the Mike Tomlin of the NBA. And that is so real. He is going to have a well-coached, well-put-together team. They went out, they got Derrick Jones Jr., good defender. They already have Terrence Mann, solid defender. Zubac is one of the most underrated interior defenders in the NBA. We add that together with a really good coach. I always knew they would defend really well. It was obviously just, where's the offensive punch going to come from? Where is the depth going to come from when James Harden inevitably hits a wall because he has 1,000% usage at this big age? But the defense is always going to be really good. Zubac needs to get more credit. Oh, and they have Chris Dunn, who I forgot, who's one of the best on-ball defenders in the NBA, guarding the pick and roll. They just have a lot of defensive talent.
Dude, shout out to Chris Dunn. He randomly decided to go bald out of nowhere. He was like, you know what, Kai Jones, I'm with you and Stan.
I'm locked in.
Love that.
I'm locked in. I guess.
Also, side note, just a quick question: is Mike Tomlin the coach on the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And they lose talent, and no matter what, every year they're a very good defense and they're very competitive. He just builds a good program. He's exactly like Ty Lue.
Okay, that's a good comparison. That's a really good comparison.
And offensively, I thought that they would struggle, and so I think I don't know if the ceiling for James Harden, scoring wise, is too much higher than what he's doing right now. I think this is basically the James that we're going to get for a majority of the year. Norm Powell is the one who hooping and he's balling. And is Norm Powell going to stay like this? I have a lot of questions about them moving forward, but I do think that they are honestly one of the more interesting teams and one of the more like kind of fun watches because on a night to
I
night
hate
basis, like
this
on a night
because I
on a
agree
night
with you. I hate
yeah,
it. I
like
agree with
like
you.
on a
Fuck,
on a
I'm
night to
watching
night
Clippers games
basis,
consistently, bro.
they're
Shit.
they're not going to get blown out, and James Harden and Norm Powell are doing just enough offensively to like, I guess, like keep them afloat, even though that the offense is 24th in the league. Like if I'm wrong and they go up any amount and they get to like 20th or like 18th, they can jump from 13th in the conference, whatever seeding doesn't matter right now, but they can be in the play-in race and be a lot better than what we thought. And so I think that the Clippers are actually they're like underratedly fun, interesting. Interesting more than fun.
Yeah, but this isn't surprising, right? Like we came into the season and we said there's 14 competitive teams in the Western Conference.
I thought they were going to be trash though.
Yeah, well, that was
you were the only one who said that.
Ty Lue can't. You're not going to have a trash Ty Lue team with good role players, like unless they're bottoming out on purpose. They're always going to be respectable. But the problem is they might still end up being trash. They still might be like the 12th seed for the year because there's just too many good teams out there. You don't want to bet against the Spurs and their ascension with Wemby as the season goes on. Apparently the Jazz are full on tanking. Lowry's out again tonight, so the Jazz and the Trailblazers will be below them. But after that, unless teams get injured, there's just so many good teams that even though the Clippers are very respectable, there's just a lot of respectable ass teams in that conference.
Yeah, exactly. What's going on over there in LA land is sad, but I think they've surprised a lot of people just like going back to what Donovan said with how competitive they are. And I ain't gonna lie, when I watch them, I just feel like super nostalgic. They got this big ass center who's clearly like outdated, but is like putting up numbers. He might be MIP if he keeps on playing like this for all we know, bro. And yeah, they have this big ass center who plays a specific way, drop stepping all the time, back to the basket, posting up everybody, no matter if you're like a mismatch or not. And then you have James Harden, a super traditional center or traditional point guard who's gonna try to get to the rim, may not be the most effective at it, whatever. He's definitely at his like Chauncey Billups stage and era of his career, but he's maximizing the hell out of it. And then you have this like high octane, absolute immediate Monte Ellis bucket like guy in Norman Powell. This is such a throwback team.
Yeah. All right. Sticking in the West, sticking in the play-in range, probably below that. I want to talk about the Spurs a little bit. Specifically, I want to talk about Christopher Emmanuel Paul. I don't know if people have
the guy you've been hating on.
My
That's
ears
the guy
are so
you've
loud.
been hating on.
Dude, I don't know if people are noticing this, but he is making every jump shot he takes. He looks crazy right now. He's currently averaging, let me pull it up, the best scoring season he's had in several years. Right now, he's averaging 11.7 points per game. But as of late, he's had 3 straight big games where he had near triple doubles. He's shooting 47% from 3, 54% from mid-range, looking very comfortable as a scorer. Obviously, the passing comes along with that. But listen, he looked like fucking shit last year. He looked washed. And this is the second time that he has looked washed, previously in 2018, 2019 with the Rockets. And then he gets traded in the offseason to a team from the South. First, he went to OKC, revitalized his career. Now he's in San Antonio. Looks spry. And obviously the biggest thing with Chris Paul is can he stay healthy and do this for extended period of time at his age, which is always a big if. But right now, he looks comfortable scoring the ball in a way that we haven't seen in a couple of years.
When it comes to basketball, the South got something to say. And Chris Paul, like a big part of it is he gets to do offensively exactly what he wants to do. He gets to run pick and roll with an amazing lob threat and an amazing roll man, and he gets to just probe and find the elbow and get to his spot and raise up and hit that 15, 17 foot mid range at the elbow. And it's just like it's a thing of beauty. I was watching the game the other day against the Jazz, and I mean he was killing them, and it was the same thing over and over. And you saw in real time the way that like Utah and other teams have to decide like, all right, are we gonna try and stop Wemby on this roll and try to stop this lob, or Chris Paul, who's already hit 3 of these shots in a row, do we actually send some bodies at him and try to slow him down? And once he gets it going, this is the vision that everybody saw of the Spurs.
Yeah, so
when they were like, oh, they can be the 11th seed, the 10th seed.
Yeah, even then, I wouldn't go that far. Still, he still doesn't get to the rim at all. He's still not playing defense. He's pretty much the same
God
guy.
damn.
He's just making a lot of jump shots, and it's good to see because
This guy hates.
he's just making so many jump shots that it's so fun to watch. That, like you're saying, those mid-range jumpers from both elbows that we know and love him for years, that's falling, and that wasn't necessarily falling all the time last year.
And that's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you need, and that's all you should expect from Chris Paul at what 39, 40 years old. Like, no, he's not going to be, Lob City Chris Paul. He's not getting to the rim. That's not going to happen. But the mid range, that's all he can give you, and he's giving it to you.
Listen, if he keeps this up and he doesn't get hurt when Devin Vassell comes back, they're going to be a lot more fun to watch.
No, absolutely. They're playing 500 basketball right now, as I would hope them to be, because that's a prediction I made. And I guess now that we're on the topic of Chris Paul, I might as well get mine out too. Another storyline that I wanted to talk about that no one seems to care about is Jeremy Sohan. Jeremy, you're playing very well right now. It's not like popular to pay attention to him because he's Jeremy Sohan, and whenever people speak about him, they talk about, like he ruined Wemby's rookie year by being point guard or whatever the hell the case may be. But he's actually very quality defender. Been that throughout his entirety of his career. He's amazing at cutting and just like making simple reads, getting to the basket and all that. And he at times feels like the perfect four to have alongside Wemby to do all the dirty work and do, just the nitty gritty smart basketball player stuff. And also when it comes to like them being, I think they're a top 4 defense so far this year. And they're also one of the better rebounding teams in the NBA so far. Also, I think they're top 4 in each category. Mm-hmm. Jeremy Sohan deserves a lot of the credit when it comes to that as well.
I'm glad you brought that up because that was also one of my things. And I guess we're all just like, hey, are you guys watching the Spurs? Because the first 2 games they came out right. Wemby played really bad, but they're 2-1 in their last 3 games. Wemby started to pick it up. He had a 5x5 the other day. Like things are looking solid for San Antonio, and things are going in the right direction. And 2 things for them that they can like expect to get better, even if Chris Paul and his play declines. You can expect obviously for Devin Vassell to come back, but you can also expect for Wemby's 3-point shot to fall a little bit high. He's not shooting well, right? And he's taking some crazy threes. The three's not falling. If he can get the 3 to be at a respectable manner, and now you start seeing the full package from Wemby in terms of him as a perimeter scorer, that's going to help them a lot. And I think that they are at a point right now where if you are trying to buy stock in any team and be like, oh, they're fun, they can actually make a run. San Antonio is one of those teams that can be frisky right now.
Yeah. Jeremy Sohan is like the best example of like a good barometer for who actually watches a team like the Spurs versus who just like follows on Twitter. Because he has the worst PR ever. Because he had those 20 games where Pop made him play fucking point guard and it was ridiculous.
It's not his fault.
So he became like the face of terrible player that Wemby's getting sold by. He's never been a bad player at all. I've always liked him a lot since his rookie year. I just like him as a power forward and not the point guard running an offense and pick and roll. That was always absurd. But he's always been a good player, especially defensively. He has so much potential. He's so mobile, strong down low. Like he has a good ceiling. I still don't know if he's the exact type of 4 I want next to Wemby long term. But he's certainly a good player. Like whether it's on the bench or starting for a team, he's going to be a good player for a while.
Yeah, I think in terms of like long term, his value alongside Wemby is like entirely dependent on like the other 3 guys around him and how powerful they are offensively and how good of a shooters they are. Really, that's what it comes down to. But I agree with you for all those levels or reasons. Like Son, he's been one of some of like the better young players the NBA has to offer, and no one just cares because they just hate him.
Okay, relax. One of the better young players the NBA has to offer. Calm down.
You know what I mean by that. I don't mean like he's like like Paulo level, but like he's better than average. Yeah.
No, he's cool. He's a good player. We don't gotta go crazy. He's a good player.
Okay.
Isaac has been hating a lot lately. Anytime you try to be like, yo, this guy, he's actually kind of good. I was like, this guy sucks. What are you talking about?
Mo, what is our next team we're talking about?
No, I just gave you my next team, Spurs. That was
okay. Whose turn is it now? Donovan, what's your next team?
What did I do? Okay. Cooper Flag.
Okay.
He is in line to be a Utah Jazz at the start of next season because the Jazz right now, obviously, nobody watches them because one, they're the Jazz, and two, you know what I'm saying? You know who they are. But also, they suck right now. And I think that them being winless and having the worst offensive rating in the league, and as like, think about how good OKC is defensively, right? That is how bad the Jazz are offensively,
That's
right?
crazy.
And it's very shocking to see because this is a team that we all thought would be the definition of fun young team that
Yeah,
is
competitive.
going to exactly that's going to be frisky, competitive, will push
Nope.
you to steal a lot of games. They suck, and teams like the Wizards have wins, and
Yeah.
the Jazz do not. Nobody on this team is scoring at the rim right now. Lowry is the only one who is actually like knocking down shots. John Collins has been doing his thing here and there, but it's mainly like Lowry. And for them, it is all about Cooper Flag, and it's just very surprising that they are this bad. So yeah,
Yeah, nah.
that's my thing on the Jazz.
RIP, man. It's crazy. Especially they look even worse now because Larry Markkinen is hurt. Without Larry, who the fuck are they gonna have score? Walker Kessler has been a bright spot, but he's not a good offensive player. Like, I mean, he's not a. No, fine. He's not a good
He's
offensive
not
player.
an
He's a good defensive player that can finish a dunk. You know, as a roll man center, but he's not gonna put points on the board per se. They just do not have a lot of bright spots right now, and it looks really terrible.
Yeah. This is a W on mine. During my season preview, I was on my ass when I had the Utah Jazz. I was like so down on them, and I thought that this is the year that they were gonna be selling and all that. Now, obviously, like Larry Market's gonna miss games. Of course, that's gonna happen. I didn't foresee that happening, but I was more so thinking about the other pieces and players and parts to it. Shout out to Will Hardy, again, one of the more fun coaches to see what he produces offensively on the court, but don't have the players. You're gonna put out a poo-poo platter product, and that's what they are right now. No issue with that.
Yeah, they suck. It's straight. It's simple as that. I don't even have, there's nothing even interesting to talk about it because they don't have like.
Yeah.
They just fucking suck. There you go. Let's stick to the theme of bottom feeder teams that people aren't noticing, but I want to talk about it in a good fashion. We're gonna talk about the team that doesn't exist to most people because they play in a different country. Let's talk about the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, they're on my list too. I love it.
Yep. Grady Dick has obviously been getting a lot of talk. He's making a second-year leap. He looks really good. He looks every bit of the great shooter he was drafted to be. He's averaging 21.5 points per game, filling in nicely around their more ball handler-centric players. That's cool. What's caught my eye, and what caught my eye in this game against the Lakers and where they got their ass blown out, RJ Barrett looks good. RJ Barrett looks really good, actually. And I know last year he had a strong year once he got traded to the Raptors, and I think we all thought it was real for the most part. We ranked him pretty well in our small forward rankings. I think I had him at like, what did I have him at? Like 18 or something like that?
In that range.
Yeah, something like that. He's good. Like he's an above average starter. Dude, he's had 3 straight 30-point games. He's shooting like 48% from 3, 53% from the field. He's playmaking extremely well. He's averaging over 8 assists per game in those last 3 games, which is he's only played 4 games this season. So I'm taking away the first game he came back from injury, and the 3 games since without Scotty Barnes and without Emmanuel Quickly. Now the team isn't winning. They're not good. They are already going to be a tanking team that's missing their 2 best players. So don't expect them to win games. But I think in terms of his development and his ability to be a third guy for them, I'm pretty encouraged.
I love. Yeah, no. So we saw him like play really well once he got traded over there in Toronto, and we're like, okay, cool, do it again next season. So far this season, he's been improving on those aspects. And to add on to the RJ Barrett salute that we're giving him right now, he's even been like just as efficient, even more efficient from the field and also the 3-point line. Now, I'm skeptical in how real like this shooting leap is because I think the number one indicator for someone being a better shooter is their free throw percentage, and that hasn't grown. I think he's shooting like 68, 69% from the field or from the free throw line. But regardless of the point, whether he's a good free throw shooter or whatever or not, seeing him show life as a 3rd overall pick back in 2019 and look like an actual option, an actual building block is encouraging as hell. Shout out to, no, they don't call him the Maple Mama. That was Wiggins' name. Never mind. I was going to say call him a nickname. But shout out to him because he's looking real good. And shout out to their head coach, Darko, man, because his system is like 3 seconds. It's like a 3-second or less type of offense in terms of like you only have 3 seconds to make a decision. You have to be decisive with your move. Spacing is key, and RJ thrives in the system, and he's a different player, bro. Completely different player.
Yeah, he's not doing as much. Like obviously with those last couple years of the Knicks, it got real bad. He was pretty much camped out in the corner, and he had that one good year post bubble whenever they had no fans in the stadiums where he shot well from three, like a lot of guys did in a very fluky year. Never sustained. But now for some reason, like I understand why he's finishing better at the rim for the reasons you mentioned, Mo. The system allows him to get easier looks there that aren't forcing him to create just hezzy between legs. He's not doing any of that. He's not standing in the corner. He's catching the ball in motion, in flow, finishing in transition, letting the offense create looks for him to use his rim finishing skills. That makes sense to me why that part of his game is better. But overnight, his three-point shot got better too. Last year with the Raptors, he shot 39% from three. Right now, he's shooting 48% from three. Every single game he's been in a Raptors uniform, he has been a good three-point shooter. And I'm sure Donovan can attest to the fact that if that were the case when he was a Knick, he would probably still be a Knick.
Yeah, this is exactly like the vision. There were times where I was like an RJ Barrett defender. I remember you guys asking me, like, do you guys think that RJ could be an all-star? I was like, I mean, yeah, like, he could sneak into one.
That boy was lying.
This is the progression that I thought was, borderline potential possible with RJ. And Mo, so I have to ask you though, how long is it going to take for us to like actually believe in the RJ Barrett stuff? Like real.
What does
deal.
believing look like? What does believing mean to you?
Real.
I had to shift my expectations and standards for him, and because I've lowered it and he's like leveled up as a player in productivity, I believe in it now. Like, yeah, he's a good player who could start on a lot of teams.
Okay,
on a good amount of teams.
You don't expect star potential at all, so it's pretty believable for him to be a decent role player.
Definitely, yeah. Can you average like 15 to 17, a productive 15 to 17, and be an important part to my team aspiring to win something? I think he can be that.
Yeah, can he be a good finishing wing between the two creators of Scottie Barnes and Emmanuel Quickley? Absolutely, why not? It's not an easy role, but it's the right role for him where it's not asking him to do a lot of difficult stuff that isn't in his bag. But then again, I'm playing these highlights right now, and he's playmaking. Like, there's this play, you guys can't see it right now, but he runs a regular pick and roll. He makes Anthony Davis jump under the rim and hits a little wraparound dump-off pass to Jakob Poeltl. That was not in his bag as a Knick. He was not making these passing reads. And while they are simple, it's not the hardest thing in the world. That's the type of stuff that was just too fast for him when he was playing in the Knicks, and he just couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I kind of believe he's making a passing leap, and maybe it's because somebody has to do it with Emmanuel Quickley and Scottie Barnes out, and maybe that part isn't going to be consistent. But the field looks a lot better.
Most improved.
Yeah, I agree. Even his dribbling looks a lot better. He would always be like super mechanical and like boxy whenever he would try to get into his bag and do straight line drives or whatever. But it feels a little bit more comfortable.
Do you think? I mean, I wonder if people always say some guys need a fresh start, and like people often underrate the mental aspects of the game. I wonder if it's he played for the Knicks. The lights were fucking bright. Now he has the opposite. Nobody cares about the Raptors. They play in a different country. He got deported, as we say. That's the opposite of bright lights. Maybe that's exactly what he needed. Maybe he's playing loose and confident. He didn't get deported. Oh, you're right. He got sent home. Never mind. Different for him. But yeah, maybe that's another extra level of comfort. He got sent back to his home country. He's not having huge expectations. Like, maybe he just needed that ability to relax and have that confidence in his game.
Yeah, I agree. Change of scenery for a lot of young players do wonders. I think we see it time and time again. The last time, never mind. I can't remember the last time you've seen not a failed role player, but like someone who's just like wasn't doing too well. I guess you could say like someone who had just a really stinky narrative around him. There's another Canadian, Andrew Wiggins, as soon as he got shipped out of from the T-Wolves and went to the Warriors, revitalized his game, not completely, but just honed in on certain strengths, rebounding, defense, and all that, and showed shades of scoring. RJ Barrett's doing something similar-ish to that light. Having real busted vibes to him. So
fit is everything. It happens all the time. Also, someone in the chat said, shout out Ochai Agbaji. Fact, shout out him. I picked up in fantasy. He went crazy the other day. Shout out him for giving me 60 fantasy points on a random Sunday night. Shout out him.
Good player. I remember when a couple episodes ago we were talking about, you wanted us to talk about like something interesting from the Toronto Raptors, and I was like, look, I ain't got nothing to say about this team other than I hope Grady Dick takes a leap and becomes more aggressive. As you said like a couple minutes ago, doing that, averaging efficient 21 points per game, 38% shooting from the 3-point line. Salute.
Somebody in the chat said Victor Oladipo is the other example of someone who's disappointing with their first team, and he did change the scenery. That's a perfect
Mm.
example. He was number 2 pick instead of 3. Was just kind of a decent player, never great. Went to Indiana, became an all-star. And RJ's not going to do that because they already have Scotty and they already have Quickly. His usage is going to go down. But he could play at elite role player levels and be like sub all-star at this rate.
Yeah, he could be something along those lines for sure. I think whatever medium that you think is between like 2018, 2017 Oladipo and Andrew Wiggins, he is that.
Yeah, or just Andrew Wiggins. That could be that. He could be a helpful player on a team that needs it.
It's damn good. Damn good.
Shout out the Raptors. Right. That concludes our Raptors talk. What's the next team?
Next team that I want to talk about are the Chicago Bulls. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I want to talk about the Bulls. They are actually I don't know if it's because I have no life, but they're fun to watch. Sure. I kind of enjoy seeing them, what they do. Mainly, it may be just like a Zach LaVine thing because he has looked like every bit of promising and like he looks like an all-star. Was he an all-star before in his career? I believe he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Looking like every ounce of that, he's an absolute flamethrower. And even beyond that, like the actual style of play, the pacing, the movement, and also like the three-point shooting, which is something that's like so bizarre and rare for this team because historically they just over the last like 5-7 years they just haven't been that at all. They've been one of the worst, specifically volume-wise, 3-point shooting teams in the entire NBA. And to see them just evolve their style of play and like the most I don't want to say inconvenient time, but the most random time is like impressive and it's interesting.
Yeah, man, they're 4th in 3-point volume and 8th in 3-point efficiency, despite adding Josh Giddey into their lineup, who has been Josh Giddey. You know, he's not out here being a volume 3-point shooter.
He's still a negative.
Yeah, it's everybody else. It's Zach LaVine playing well. Vucevic is playing out of his mind. He's just revitalized. So, listen, keep doing it, Vuce. Pump up that trade value. That team needs to get a first-round pick for you. So, keep getting buckets so they can ship you back to the Magic or something. But no, good for them, I guess. Though, it's funny that as soon as we think, okay, they're finally going to rebuild, and they they let DeMar walk, and they finally seem to be like going down a rebuilding path. They just find a way to be mid again because they're better than you think this time instead of worse.
Well, they couldn't do it. They weren't given the opportunity because if they were on the path to fully tearing it down, but nobody wanted to trade for LaVine.
True, they tried.
So like you had your whole roster last year who won like 34 games, and then it's like, hey, let's add this 25 point per game scorer onto your roster and let's see how everything goes. And so it makes sense that they are offensively a much better watch this year than they were last year.
Mm-hmm. And I know in the preseason, Kenny talked a lot about it where he was saying that all he wants as a Bulls fan is to see them have a high pace and high 3-point volume. Just be competent, be fast, and be modern. Shit, that's exactly what they've done. They must have hurt his ass.
Now, question. Will this hurt the Bulls more than it help them? I don't know. I think they should be tanking their ass off right now, and they look like actually one of the more lower than middle of the pack teams. And I think this hurts their lottery chances, of course. But maybe it doesn't because, like you said, maybe you can see Vucevic getting traded to the Phoenix Suns or whatever random team that you can think of. Same thing for Zach LaVine, and they start from scrolling. Honestly, that's probably the blueprint for them right now. Shout out to Billy Donovan.
If they were a smart front office, that would 100% be the plan. Let these guys hoop, get the trade value up high, trade LaVine, trade Vucevic, trade Lonzo, just keep the young guys around and reap the benefits and have a second half tank like the Jazz always do. But we're not talking about a smart front office here.
Exactly.
So I think they might.
That's not what they're about.
I think the trade, the All-Star break might come around, and they might be the 9 seed, and they're like, let's bump those numbers up. Let's go trade for Wendell Carter or something. Let's get to 7. Let's go ahead and make a run. So I'm not exactly excited.
What you just said is very Chicago Bulls coded. Whenever something is handed to them on like a silver platter to like, here, take it, please. Like, here's a golden opportunity for you to improve. They do the opposite.
Yeah. I'm not good for them. They're perfectly set up to do something smart. I don't anticipate they will reap the rewards of that.
Yeah.
Donovan, what is our next team?
The next team, listen, contract Julius Randle is back.
Okay.
And listen, Julius Randle is being extra efficient right now. He is hooping. He is shooting over 50% from the field. He's shooting 50% from 3. Right, he is like, we thought that it was going to take a lot of take some time for him to find his bearings. and oh, he can't play next to a non-spacer like Gobert. That's fine. Julius Randle's here. He's not the one you have to worry about. Dante DiVincenzo is the one that you have to worry about. He
So
is
opposite of what we thought.
thinking. He is thinking it up, and that's what's interesting is that it's completely flipped. I thought Dante was going to be able to, walk in, be the shooter that he is. Obviously, you've seen Anthony Edwards take 14 threes tonight. You know that this team wants to take a lot of threes. Has not been the case. And Dante right now, let me get his exact numbers up because
They're not fantastic. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he right now is shooting. He's averaging 9.8 points per game. He
Damn.
is shooting 31% from three and 36% from the field.
Stinky.
Yeah,
That
the thing
is
is,
that is not great.
the Randall thing's weird because, yes, he's playing really well and good for him getting in there and making the most of it, playing comfortable. But also, I think the team results compared to last year kind of show the Julius Randle experience, where he's getting his numbers. He's scoring well. He's rebounding. He's playmaking well. He's doing his thing. They went from the number 1 defense to the number 18. They're still just 16th in offense, which isn't his fault per se. Like you said, Dante DiVincenzo should start playing better. Maybe they'll get more from other bench players, whatever it may be. But the defense, the only thing that changed is Cat went out and Randall came in, and their defense got dramatically worse. And I'm sure Wolves fans will tell you different reasons that aren't just it's Julius Randle's fault. But noticing.
Yeah, that's a huge fucking issue if their defense is just going to be middle of the pack. What's the point of having a Rudy Gobert on your team if you're just going to have a mid and okay defense? That's not why he's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So definitely heavy noticing. I expect that to go up. But I especially expect their offense to take a turn for the better, too, at this point in time.
Yeah. And
Definitely noticing.
And it's just, you have Jaden McDaniels, who is profiles as a very good defender. I guess hasn't necessarily been the, like, elite great defender that it seemed like he was going to be a couple years ago. Like, he's not Herb Jones from last year where he's like one-man wrecking crew on the perimeter. But he's good. He should give you a good wing stopper there. Ant can lock in and play defense when needed. I don't think he's been super consistent this year. He never really is, except for big moments when he pulls his shorts up. But yeah, it's weird that you haven't gotten the big Rudy Gobert experience. His blocks are pretty low right now, and I haven't been watching them closely enough to know why that is. I don't know if he's playing higher on screens and they're not quite being super comfortable right now, but you haven't felt the regular Rudy Gobert impact.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely heavy noticing on them. If it'll be I just have to hope and pray that this is just like a comfortability thing, and Julius Randle's still learning like the philosophy over there.
Yeah. Let's see. What other teams I have left to talk about? The main things I want to talk about were Chris Paul and the Raptors. Oh,
yeah.
We got to talk about real quick. The Houston Rockets. One thing that people aren't noticing, that maybe they are after the last game and when they made that 30-point comeback and almost beat the Warriors, Tari Eason and Amen Thompson are 2 of their 5 best players. That is abundantly clear if you've been watching the Houston Rockets. But they're not going to be starters right now because of, veteran politics. Fred VanVleet is their starting point guard. He's been playing like dog shit. He's averaging, I think, 12 points and like 28% from the field. Just looks really, really bad. It kind of looks like what happens when a small point guard loses a step. It goes real quickly. I don't know. Maybe it's just poor shooting. Maybe he'll be back. He doesn't look great. Jabari Smith is fine. But Tari Eason has been the just high motor wrecking ball he's been for several years now. And he's just getting better and better. He's shooting the ball well right now. At least in that last game, he had multiple threes. I think he shot like 50% from 3 for that game. He had a bunch of big key steals in the second half. Him and Amen Thompson give them so much juice as two-way players, finishing at the rim and causing havoc defensively. They need to find a path to those 2 guys to play starter minutes. And I don't know if they can because they have so many players in their team that also need big minutes.
I'm no longer noticing. I have noticed, right? I have because this is exactly what we thought was going to happen coming into the season. Obviously, people were talking about Tari Eason for several years now, but you knew that the Rockets had too many guys and that eventually 1 or 2 of them were going to stand out from the rest of the pack. And now we get into the interesting part, which is if they continue to do it, there's no way that in a competitive Western Conference, you just can't play good players, right? That like eventually Ime's going to have to go and be like, hey, you're going to have to be on the bench. And we've seen him do it before. If it's we've seen him bench people in crucial times. And so I think that eventually we're going to get to a point where Tari is playing more, Amen is playing more, and a trade hopefully happens, and you can clear up minutes for the young guys.
Speaking of him,
I don't think he's doing a good job over there, like just divvying up the minutes. Like, why do I see?
It's hard.
coaches-
It's hard. He has
I understand it's hard, but why do
guys.
I understand that. I wholeheartedly understand that.
Do
but also
you?
at the same time too, yeah. But at the same time too, I see other players and other teams like finding ways to get their second round draft picks minutes and stuff like that. Like, why the hell is Fred VanVleet playing 38 minutes a game? That's unnecessary. Completely unnecessary. Why is Desmond Bane getting like 35 minutes a game? For what? That's too much. You know?
You mean Dylan Brooks?
Yeah, Dylan Brooks.
That's Desmond Bane. When did this happen?
Like, when did I? Yeah, no.
Their offense is really bad right now. They need I see a lot of Rockets fans talk about it. They need an offensive coordinator, and it shows. Ime Udoka is a very good defensive coach. He's very good at instilling a culture. Their offense is fucking gross right now. And they had that comeback, but they were down 30 to the Warriors for a reason, because they were getting shackled. Draymond Green had them in hell. It was crazy. And a big part of that is, their offense kind of goes through Sengun, right? He is, their best player. He just got that big contract. Ime Udoka just does not fuck with him. He has the shortest leash ever for the best player on a team. So far this season, there's been like 4 games where he doesn't play most of the fourth quarter, if not all of it. And part of that, Ime said, is they feel comfortable going to looks, closing the games with Jabari at the 5, and then having Tari or Amen out there, because that's what they did last season in the second half of the year when they made that big run and almost made the play-in tournament. He straight up said that they saw that work for an extended period of time, and they're comfortable using that as a primary look. So if Sengun isn't defending well, which, tends to happen for Alperen Sengun, they'll quickly snatch him off the court, which I understand. It's good to be versatile. Not if it's at the expense of depowering your number one offensive engine that you need to find a way to play through him if you're going to have a ceiling offensively. I just think it's a understandable but strange way to coach him, especially after you just paid him and seemingly your front office wants to commit to him.
Ime said, listen, that's not my problem. Y'all paid him.
Yeah, I ain't paying him. I made that decision.
He's like, I didn't give him the contract. I told him what he had to do to get this money. He hasn't done it. And then y'all gave him the money. So what do you want me to do?
Yep.
He's in a very like tough position because on one hand, like, he is playing the game. We see him play the veterans, and you know that whenever people get contracts, you also like there's a certain level of like, okay, we're gonna play through you that you have to do, and he's not. So I just want to know what's the beef. I want to know what the personal beef is. Like, why specifically?
I can tell you what it is. It's very clear. He's not a good rim protector.
No,
and
no. This is off the court. I know he don't like him because there's a very clear like it's very clear whenever, like, I know Ime's smart, and so I know that you can see that Sengun doesn't play defense. I know that you can also see Fred VanVleet not playing well. So
you know what it is?
Like,
you know what it is? It's that video. Soft, pretty boy, a bitch. Like, that's how he views these guys. Fred VanVleet is gritty, nose to the grind, undrafted guy. He tries 1,000%. Ime is the coach that rewards that to the 1,000th degree. He empowered Marcus Smart because he's just like that. Those are the type of guys he gravitates towards. Men Thompson and Tyrese are playing minutes now because they get that shit out of the mud. They put in effort every single play. Big motor guys. Sengun is all finesse. He's European. He has that style of play that clearly is not in line with Ime Udoka's psyche.
He said, if I ever see you throw a no-look pass,
get the fuck off the court. But no, it's weird. And, last season, I noticed this a lot, and I mentioned on the pod that it seems like they're not super committed to him. There was rumors that Sengun was on the trade block, which were unsubstantiated. They were fake. But it was something we noticed because there's a lot of times where he wouldn't close games and had a short leash and so on. And then he got paid, and Rockets fans were like, see, we told you all that smoke about him not being the guy was stupid. But yet the coach still behaves in this way and is still very comfortable not giving him the treatment that a pseudo star player would normally get from their coach.
Yeah, I think right now it's easy to not give someone like Alperen Sengun minutes, particularly when he's not doing his thing offensively, which he hasn't been.
Yeah,
and that's the main reason why you play him. That's what makes him look like he's special when he's when he's doing what he does defensively, which, like you said, Isaac, isn't much, and he's just like been very average to below average offensively, especially when it comes to his touch around the rim as a big man. Like, at that point in time, you're unplayable and you're actively hurting my team. So as soon as he gets back on track and finds his rhythm, I think Ime will be forced to play him through the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too that like you said, if he's not playing well and I already know I have another look I can go to where I get some athletes on the court, then like I'm gonna do that, you know?
Yeah. I agree. Another team that I wanted to talk about, Atlanta Hawks, of course. And there's
let's talk about how bad they look.
Oh yeah, I'm pushing my
whoa. We all right. We just
they need Bogdan to be healthy, man. I hate watching them when Bogdan's
Dude, we need half of our team to be healthy. The season started and boom, like 4 or 5, half of our rotation player just went out, whether it be Vic, DeAndre Hunter, or Bogey. Bro, it's insane. And even Dyson Daniels went out, and he returned last night for New Orleans, and we won. And this specific moment is about him, showing how important and impactful he is and has been for this team. He's a huge 6'6", not huge, decently sized 6'6" wing. Fantastic defensive point of attack defender who we've been like begging for and wanting for all this time alongside Trae Young. Defensively, he means the world to us. Right now, when he's on the court, we have a defensive rating of 88. 88. That is insane. That'll be one of the best defenses of all time with him on the court. Without him, we have a defensive rating of 145.
That's an absurd number.
That's all-star game type numbers right there. 145. That number is absurd, of course. And that just shows how much he's meant to us on that end, and also offensively too. He's special for us as well when it comes to the connective things that he can do. But yeah, he is monumental to us and our success. And since he's been out for majority of the season, because he's played a little bit now, he played a little bit during the first few games, went out because of an injury. Now he just returned. We're still like, I think we're a top 8 defense in our offense in the entire NBA. But defensively, I think we're like 25, 26, 27, around that range. One of the worst defensive teams. So stories tell themselves.
I got some bad news for you. That's who they're going to be all year. They're going to be a mediocre defensive team with a really good offense because they have Quinn Snyder and Trae Young. My biggest takeaway from watching them is, like you said, they've been insanely injured, and they have no margin for error with injuries. They are not deep right now. Yeah. It seems like they are, but they're deep with a lot of David Roddies and shit that are fine players that can fill a role, but they're not going to be like, there's no juice in either end of the ball.
He's hating.
Oh, shout out the other day, Garrison Matthews is a bucket. Garrison Matthews is a sharpshooter.
Dude, he's a sniper.
The main thing I noticed is when Bogdan isn't there and they're starting all their light-skinned brigade of 6'9" wings, they do not have nearly enough ball handling. And when they blitz Trae Young and they make it go out, Jalen Johnson has to essentially be the second ball handler, and I hate that for him. They have to empower him to develop that way, so I get it. But I do not like watching him be the guy to run pick and rolls and try to think real hard and make these passing reads that just clearly are not natural to him. He's just like herky-jerky. He's so much better when he can be a play finisher, be the lethal transition just killer he is, and be the tertiary ball handler and not have to be like the main guy when Trae Young's off the court. I hate watching him be a point forward.
Yeah, I think the main issue with that, whenever Trae Young gets blitzed and he's forced to make decisions or like high-level decisions, is that like he's not a great half-court player at all. Like you said, he thrives in the transition, and whenever like this defense is actually like staying still, that's when you see like his game starts to get paralyzed a little bit. His superpowers start to get paralyzed a little bit, tranquilized, if you will. And that's because he's not necessarily just yet a 3-level scorer. He can shoot from 3. He has been getting better when it comes to his finishing early. He had a super slow start to the season. Everyone's like, oh my God, Jalen Johnson, he's not that guy. We gave him all this money. He was averaging 11 points. Boom, he put up like 29 and 17 or something like that against the Wizards, and 21 and 11 and 9. So he's fine. He's that guy still. But it's like one of those instances where it's like you're at work and you show that you're actually good at something, and now they're like, okay, well, fuck it. Like, let's rely on this guy all the fucking time.
100%.
You show that he was good at something. They're like, okay, you can do this, bro.
No, yeah, you're too good of an employee, so they give you more responsibility. They promoted him to manager. Now he's running the fry cook station and the flipping the burgers. He has to do everything now. They moved him up the line to shift manager, and it's hard. You got to make an adjustment. And that's what development is for.
And now the fries are cold.
Yeah, now the fries are cold, and the milkshakes are all fucked. But you're right. Having Jalen there, having Bogdan there is very important. And no, this is why you give guys touches so they can get better at these things. It's not a natural thing. Jalen Johnson has always been a guy that develops over time. He didn't walk into the league just being this bucket that is like the clear-cut guy. He's a guy that's earned his right there by continuing to get better, so he'll keep doing that. Also, he needs to get better as a screen setter. He's a fucking terrible screen setter. They do a lot of pick and roll with him and Trae Young. And so many guys these days do not want to make contact because they want to slip it and get the open short roll touch. And it pisses me off so much. Like, he's so horrible setting screens.
Yeah. Jalen Johnson's just so interesting as a player because he didn't even get much. He didn't finish his college year at Duke when he went a couple years ago. He had beef with the coach, didn't end up playing, showed up for like a game or two. And he comes into the NBA, of course, under Nate Milk Dud McMillan, doesn't play for the first 2 years of his career, gets a little bit of sunshine, and he gets to like actually sweat a little. And now it almost feels like this is his actual second year in the NBA because his playing time and playing high-level basketball overall just hasn't been there. So I see him being like a late bloomer almost in his NBA career.
Bro, they're having Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and then debates in the chat, and also Kanye debates.
What is wrong?
Wait, what's going on?
And right under that, someone says someone for MVP, bro. Y'all
talking nonsense.
Yeah.
Earlier, somebody asked me who the best rookie is this year. Ryan Dunn, pretty easily.
That's hilarious, bro.
He's been so good.
Has been either not playing or just putting up.
I got it. I'm tapped in.
This class is terrible.
Yeah.
Well,
tragic.
That's the last team we're going to talk about. And that's the end of the stream. We appreciate y'all sticking out. All 1,300 of you that are here right now. You stay for some goofball bullshit. You heard us talk about presidents in the NBA. You heard us talk about real ball shit with these down bad teams and that you aren't paying attention to. Full TD3 experience. We appreciate all y'all for coming through.
Lock in.
And we'll see y'all next week, man. You said lock in. Goodbye.